You know, if I see my shadow, it's 6 more weeks of terrible country songwriting.
Of what?
This is terrible country songwriting.
No. I don't think you need to see your shadow to do that.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'm getting all this.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Here we go. Oh, God, my hair's getting long. Turned into a bit of a cockatoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. You just grow a mullet.
No. And there, I love country music, but not enough to get profiled by it.
Amarillo Rocks, what up? I'm Remy. For some reason I walked in and was told, hey, I'm doing this today. So here I am. Welcome. I'm here with my good buddy, I guess, and co-worker, Mr. Travis Roberts.
Hello.
Hello, Travis.
Hello, Jeremy.
We are also here with Thule. Say what up, Thule.
What up, Thule?
Thule's in the background. He's producing. So
Thule, you're the best.
you are the best. I would much rather you be over here doing this, but for some reason I've been tasked with having to talk to you.
Yeah, what a bummer.
Yeah, I know. Right?
You're the dude.
I know, you're the dude. We've been trying to get this going for like a week or so now.
Mhm.
And we're kind of back, I guess, right, Thule? Would
That's
you
right.
say that? Like
It's back.
Yeah, we've got some shows coming up.
Yeah, some shows coming up. Well, and I mean, like, we're back, but also, like, Amarillo Rocks has kind of been kind of here, kind of not,
Yeah.
on and off. Thule's been, his life's been adjusting. My life's been adjusting.
I've got a life again.
You've got a life now, so you can dedicate it to things that will rob you of the life that
Exactly.
you just acquired. So
We
Correct.
love music.
it's perfect. It's so great, man. I'm excited because along with this, I know for a fact we have this and a really special, not that you're not special, Travis, but we have a special, like another kind of cool guest for the show. So let's talk about the last time you were here was a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
And there was a very different white man sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
And now there is a brown man talking to you. How does that make you feel?
I feel like we've changed a lot in this country. I think it's great.
Come a long way.
We've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, it feels like forever ago till he was just telling me that he's got some videos of me like rolling in the floor, which is a trip.
Yeah.
'Cause now, if I was rolling in the floor, my wife would ask me if I was okay and I needed help, and my dog would try to lick me to death.
The reason you're rolling on the floor is different now too.
Yeah, absolutely. And most
Yeah.
of the time, I'm rolling on the floor laughing,
Or because you're old.
or because I'm old.
Yeah.
And I fell out of bed.
Yeah.
But but no, it's been a lot different.
So when you were here last time, you were already doing the country stuff.
Yeah.
Right. We were talking about the country stuff.
I was freshly sober,
Mhm.
relatively.
And it's been what, I guess 5 years?
4 maybe.
4?
Because it was post pandemic or
Okay.
in pandemic, something like that.
Okay.
So I had been sober because I kind of mark pre-sobriety and post-sobriety by the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So
That's a nice marker.
yeah,
to-
it's a pretty
to
easy
bet-
marker
measure
when
it
the
off,
world
yeah.
shut down.
Mhm.
To tell a slightly funny story, but also not funny. I didn't know there was a pandemic going on until I went to rehab, and all of a sudden we show up and they're like, "Hey, there's going to be no visitation," and I went, "What?
Ooh.
My family's not going to come see me? That's going to suck."
Yeah.
Granted, I was in Houston. My family ain't making that drive.
Mhm.
But when I left the rehab center, they said, "Hey, here's a mask," and I went, "Why do I need a mask?" and they give me in a car and they start driving me towards IAH. And I'm looking and there's nobody on the streets.
So you thought you were in The Walking Dead.
I
is
did.
the end of the story.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I thought I was.
You might have missed a lot of it, but we're just gonna hop right back
Yeah,
in from where
it was. It felt like The Walking Dead.
We're gonna cut through and have like a little
Yeah.
technical difficulties. and
Yeah,
then
I'll just play the
that.
Spanish flea and yeah, and then we'll go on to it. Yeah.
No, but it sucked a lot.
Yeah.
But
Was sobriety hard? Like, not to get like super deep at the very beginning,
Yeah.
but like was staying first of all, so like the funny okay, so the story I knew you you were like probably 18
Mhm.
when I met you. You were doing Bomb City.
I was.
So it was like pre-Tender Silk.
Yeah.
So you're doing Bomb City and you did something at 806. You're just this kid.
saying band names and just flashbacks.
Yeah,
Or just
yeah.
hitting.
So then I remember seeing you I just decided to start Native Crowds,
Yeah.
which is my band. Shameless plug. And
New song out.
yeah,
Codependence.
new song out. And I don't know. It's probably out when this episode comes out.
Yep,
It'll already be out.
new song out.
So I saw you at that Hanger show.
Yeah.
It was like Mount Ivy was it Mount Ivy? No, it was Vamping at the time.
Yeah, it was
So it was
Vamping.
Vamping and you guys and a bunch of other bands.
Yeah.
And I was in the process of building my band.
Yeah.
And I asked you to fill in on a guitar at a Golden Light show.
And
maybe a year later. It was like after I got out of the hospital.
In long story short,
Yeah.
I missed the show.
You missed the show. But here's the thing, man. Like I had no idea what was going on in your life at the time. You were hiding it really well.
That's the worst part about it.
Yeah. And but so then like you were scheduled to play guitar for me for the show, and you showed.
Yeah.
And I just thought you were just being flaky.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought.
And that's the thing is, it was like, yeah, I guess in a way I was being flaky, but it was in the same way that I had been flaky on paying my bills.
Yeah.
It was just like I didn't know how to operate anymore, and that's why when you said it, I hid it really well. To others, maybe but to the ones who were like really close to me, they could tell. And,
Sure.
And that's why it caught up to me pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things where it was like, I was powerless in the situation. I really was.
So yeah, okay. So going back, like my original question was like, so you get out of treatment, pandemic's going on, you're stuck at home or wherever you're at the time.
Yeah.
So do you think that because you weren't able to go a lot of places, do you think sobriety was not
easier? Yeah, dude, totally. I think
your playgrounds were limited.
Absolutely. Beforehand, where it was easy to just kind of pop off and do a thing, it wasn't really anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, the desire was still there in just the same way.
Sure.
I've heard somebody say that, putting down is the easy part. It's the not picking up again. That's the hard one, and that's still to this day, as much as like, I don't necessarily have the desire anymore. I don't wake up and go, man, let's go get loaded, but some days I wake up and go, man, I'm a real angry son of a gun today. you know? And sometimes the thought creeps in, but it's one of those things where back then, I guess it was a little easier. I would say so. I definitely had an advantage with something working in my favor. Talk about, there being divine and mysterious ways. It's not one of those things that I could have just slid out of on my own, because I guarantee if I was able to go back to the same haunts and the same thing, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Sure.
But yeah.
That's wild, man. Because like I just remember like the pandemic for me was like I was in Borger. I don't necessarily like I definitely had a drinking problem, but I don't know how if it was to the degree that was like super debilitating.
Yeah.
But it was like that was like the start of it for me.
Yeah.
Was the pandemic and like the loneliness and the I don't know what I'm gonna do and so the pandemic sort of like hurt some people, but I think it also helped some people too because like you had to decide, am I gonna push through this and I think it either like it heightened your optimism or your pessimism.
Yeah, it was extreme on either side.
Yeah,
it was extreme on either side.
Yeah, so you're out making music, doing this country thing.
Yeah. That's a stretch nowadays, but
yeah.
At that time, it definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember your first like photos, you were wearing this some weird fucking cowboy hat and shit. And like, what's going on? Like, it's a trip, man. Like, I'll try to find it. I'll put it in the video.
I look back on those now, and it kind of makes me laugh. Because it was just like, dude, I was just trying to be something I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it felt like a long time of my life I was just trying to be something I wasn't. Because like I still love country music. I still have a big heart for country music. I still write country music.
Yeah.
Now the way that my band decides to bastardize my beautiful music and turn on the distortion pedals is out of my control. But I still write country music.
Yeah.
But at that time I was trying to dig so deep into such a small well in me that I didn't think about going to the other places.
Yeah.
And so it was when I really figured out that like, hey, you don't have to just be one thing. Genre's not real. That's it.
Yeah.
Genre is just not real. We try to categorize it based on that, but genre just doesn't actually exist. If you'll just turn that off in your brain.
Genre is more like a marketing ploy than it is.
It is. Absolutely. And it's also this thing to where it makes it easy to categorize art.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because you're literally talking about trying to break out of a category. Because if art is all the same thing, it's barely art anymore. You know? that part of what makes art is individual expression. 100%.
Yeah.
You bringing a fresh idea to possibly an old template.
Yeah.
You know, I hear the best saying is the best artists steal and know how to hide their influences. And so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, absolutely. But I'm just lucky to have a whole lot of influences. You know,
Was it Tweety that said that? I
Um,
feel like I heard Jeff Tweedy say that, but he was quoting someone else
he
too.
probably did. He's so pretentious. He
Yeah.
probably just,
Oh,
just
then
took it.
I will not deal with this
Here,
Jeff Tweedy hate.
I love Jeff Tweedy, but you cannot lie. Any
No,
guy
he
who
is.
comes in with a book who says how to write one song definitely thinks they have the song market corner.
Nice.
I not to get on a Jeff Tweedy rant, but I do think, and he acknowledges too. I was on a kick listening to interviews of him a few weeks ago. It's nice that he acknowledges this, and I feel like this might be where I probably thrive the most. Is he's like he in so many words he was like, I'm a better editor.
Yeah,
Like I know how to like sit down with someone.
Yeah,
and like help them write
flesh an idea.
their best songs.
Yeah,
and I feel like I can write songs, but like when it's not mine, I get these ideas a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Of like what could happen. Like I've done that with you, and I've done that with a couple other people.
Yeah, I mean, there's totally different ways to do the thing.
Yeah.
I always find myself more a contributor. I always do have like a really crazy off the wall fresh idea, and then I throw it at the wall, and then I always need somebody to come in and do that.
Yeah,
you know, that's why I love to co-write. I've made it a big corner of my career.
Yeah,
because I really think that I can word vomit all day long, but it takes somebody who's intelligent enough to know when to cut something out.
Yeah,
that makes it work. You know.
Yeah, and that's like a maturity thing. I'm learning that too, of like not making something so precious that you're not willing to like let it get cut on a bit.
Dude, they're just words.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just a note. If it's gone, you did not change the world by leaving that note out.
Yeah. And that is, for me, it's like across the board with like producing, like,
writing
stuff. It's like
marketing.
There's guitar parts I want to leave in, and it's like I don't need 8 guitar tracks in this thing.
Yeah.
You know? I can just do the 2.
Exactly.
But
I just got done cutting this last weekend in Fort Worth, and there's not a single percussion instrument on the thing. We tried it like 1,000 times over, except my producer just playing on a table. That's the only percussion instrument on the whole thing.
May I interject here for just a second?
Yeah.
Most desktop publishing these days has no percussion instruments in it because
Really?
it's all programmed drums.
Oh yeah, all programmed drums. Absolutely. I guess it would be an acoustic percussion instrument. It would just be IKEA desk is what was played.
Yeah.
I don't know the model number, but that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah, because like even my stuff is like programmed drums. I will say
we still got real drums.
I was about to say, like, there's a lot of ground to cover. I want to try to get to where we're at now. So, but yeah, so you did this country thing, and then you kind of grinded for a few years. It feels like just doing sort of like Amarillo stuff, and then kind of getting out.
Leftwoods every other week.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, sweet lady of 6th Street.
Yeah,
Leftwoods.
So let's fast forward a little bit. I don't know how much we can talk about this.
Well, we can talk about anything you want.
Like
as of today, you can talk about.
Okay, fuck yeah, then. So last summer,
yes,
we fly out to Nashville for
on a whim.
Yeah, on a whim.
We find out 3 weeks or 4 weeks before.
So I've been tour managing Travis for about 2 years now. So when I say we, it's because I work for the guy now. So this is why it's weird.
It's a reverse job interview.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird interviewing him. So I've worked for the guy for about 2 years. We're on this tour. Things are kind of like picking up. You get signed to, at the time was called Honcho.
Yes,
right?
it was a management group.
Management group with Dalton Domino.
Yeah.
So you're on Honcho Music Group. You start kind of, making some moves, playing some songs. Somehow if we get this tour with Drayton Farley.
Yeah.
Where we do like half the leg at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah, and then we do the final leg.
The end of the leg. But between that is when we go to Nashville.
Yeah.
So we do this tour with Drayton. The first half is just me, you, and Cody.
Yep.
We go to Salt Lake. We go to Denver.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then like a week later, we have to get onto a plane and fly to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's just like a 2-day thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet with New West Records.
Yes.
And you're meeting with New West. Now, New West, I'm talking a lot.
No, you're good. You're good.
To where we're at. New West, tell us a little bit about what you know about the label, like like why it's a big deal, why it matters to you.
Yeah.
What that whole experience was like for you signing to this, because spoiler, you signed to this label.
Yes, I am signed to New West Records.
Yeah.
I love New West Records. I'll be honest with you, before I even really started talking with New West, half the records in my own personal record collection were New West Records. From guys like the Drive-By Truckers to Justin Townes Earl to Steve Earle to 49 Winchester to, you can name live records by Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard, and they put these records out.
Mouse Rat.
Mouse Rat.
None of those guys suck.
No.
Yep, none of those bands,
especially Mouse Rat.
Mouse Rat. Rules.
Yeah. Not Rat Mouse, but Mouse Rat.
Mouse Rat. And then All Them Witches. I mean, it's such a big umbrella.
Yeah.
But they make some of the coolest records. American Aquarium is one of my personal, like, all-time favorite bands, and they have records on New West Records.
Ben Folds is also on.
Ben Folds is on New West Records.
So is it New West or
yes,
Newest?
New West.
New West.
Two different words. But those guys are awesome. And so we had cut the first half of a record in Arizona in January.
Yeah.
And at
of
first,
last year, right? 23
would be, because we went,
So you recorded the first half of the record almost over a year ago.
Yeah, 2023. Okay. We cut the first 4 songs, and we're sitting, and they're really good. And I paid for that record with all sorts of different things, but none that I'd care to go into press about.
Man.
We'll wait for press releases to do that. But
nothing illegal.
Nothing illegal.
He wasn't walking funny when he came here. So.
It's because the record's paid for too.
Yeah. Word.
But they we start realizing that the money's running dry, and we're like, if we're going to do this the right way, we got to have some real money. But the thing is, I mean, we were regionally having some success. You know, in Texas, we were playing some things here and there, and they were pretty good. And then we had gotten that Drake and Farley run, and we didn't really know, and that was all because of a Women of Prayer between my manager and Jacob Lapidus at CAA. But we hadn't really done much of anything, so we were like, we can shop this to record labels and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But we went ahead and we just sent it out and just got a feeler. We wanted to start with New West because, to be honest with you, the music industry is so wonky these days that New West seemed like the most artist comfortable choice. So we hopped in with those guys and we sent them an email, and they were like, yeah, let's have a meeting. We love this half of this record. Let's talk. And so they were like, let's book you a gig at the Basement there in Nashville. And, you need to fly out. There's no pay.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, make it happen. Here we go. And then we went, all right, rock and roll, here we go. And we went out there, and those guys were just, you could tell they care about songs. There's not a lot of Stetsons and Tecovas boots and everybody honky tonk barring. There's not a lot of it. It's more of that traditional country stuff, and not traditional maybe in the sound of it, but traditional in the actual implementation of it. Traditional in the things that they talk about, you know?
Yeah.
So when I walked in there, it just felt comfortable. And so I'll never forget when we walked out, it just felt like I had a conversation with those guys. I wasn't really like interview prepped. Dalton wanted me to be on my best behavior, and I just kind of blabbermouthed like I do, you know? And I walk out and I go, all right, so what's next? And they're like, let's go celebrate. Yeah. I was like, what are we celebrating? They're like, you just got a record deal. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it didn't even dawn on you.
It didn't dawn on me that these guys were sending paperwork in the next couple of weeks. We'll be in touch didn't mean, oh, we'll just call you later, wink, wink, like a bad girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
They honestly wanted to do something. Yeah. And so we put papers together. I signed them, and I became a New West artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
When you say you send something out, how do you send something out?
So thankfully I have a good manager. I'll say this over and over again. I have a good manager who cares. And it's kind of just, there's a lot of different ways to do it. A lot of the times it's just Googling and finding an email.
Right. You
know, sometimes it's just, some people think that there's like some secret cheat code, and in reality, there's not really. I mean, it is somewhat who you know.
Yeah.
But if you like a certain type of music, I'd recommend buying the record, looking on the back of what that label tag is, go online, Google them, email them until they finally go, no, we're not signing you, or we can talk, you know. The worst thing they can do is say no.
Word.
But thankfully, my manager had some relationships with some people at some labels, and so we were able to send it out to some people who would listen to it a lot faster.
Yeah.
Which is why it almost felt like overnight.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where it was like, hey, we just finished this. Let's figure out how to make some money. Let's go play some shows, save some cash, eat some crap. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, never mind. Fly to Nashville.
Yeah.
So for a lot of these bands that are listening to this right now,
Yeah.
the point is that it's not going to happen automatically.
No.
You got to be fucking boots on the ground. You got to,
And
get
even with
out
a record label, it doesn't happen
Yeah.
automatically. I mean, it's one of those things where you cannot expect a record label or any amount of money to do the work for you.
Yeah.
It won't. It just won't.
That's not how the world works. It's not how music works.
No.
As skewed and as weird as the business has gotten,
Yeah.
you've still got to do the legwork.
I'll say this, and if my record label ever sees this, it may spot a conversation, but it is not us who need record labels.
Oh.
That's the truth. If
I
you
like-
really think about it,
I like where this is going.
it is the record labels who need us.
Yeah.
Because what record are they going to put out? The one they wrote?
That
Okay.
But it's one of those things where,
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I have a label that takes care of me. But you see
Yeah.
it happen all the time with other artists who are like, we burned this bridge with this record label and our career's doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most popular example is the producer for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
In reality, he don't write those songs.
Yeah.
Taylor writes those songs,
Well,
or
Homeboy's probably
Taylor's
doing
writers
pretty
write
good.
those songs.
I imagine he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I imagine he's doing great off
Yeah.
those first masters,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a matter of you've got to know the business if you want to get into it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will get screwed. I will say that as the first commandment of Music Business 101. If you do not know the business and you decide to walk into something, you will get screwed.
Yeah.
Because they see it. Because at the end of the day, the record label, as much as they may love music, as much as they do music, then it's great and they provide something for us and we need their money and we need their resources to release the record and get it in the most hands nationally or internationally. At the end of the day, they're trying to make money too.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where no matter what, have a lawyer.
Mhm.
The most rock and roll thing to do is hire a great lawyer and then go do the work.
Yeah. And I don't think it's me trying to do like damage control with what you just said, because we still work for a label.
I love New
yeah.
West Records.
Yeah,
I do.
I think the nice thing about New West is I think they're one of the few labels around that understands the sort of symbiotic sort of it's maybe not symbiotic, but like there's a partnership
Yeah.
that we both benefit from each other.
Absolutely.
And it's not like I don't think that they for one second think, well, this kid wouldn't be going anywhere without us.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get him.
Yeah,
no,
no,
and
I don't think they think that.
That's the beauty of New West.
Yeah.
It's like you can find those record labels still exist.
Yeah.
You don't have to think, and I think a part of this too is it took me a long time this year because I've been sitting on no releases and doing the thing to realize what measuring success is to me. What is success as a musician? I used to think success was playing the Ryman. I used to think success was putting out a record that sold 100,000 copies. That's not it. Success is picking up a guitar and writing one good song. That's it. And if I can do that again, that's another success and another success. I've got a good friend who says that the day that I keep my gratitude higher than expectations, I have really good days. And
that's a good line.
Yeah, it's in a song. He's really good. It's just the perfect way to frame that. And man, if I can just be grateful for the fact that I have the ability to write a song and the fact that everybody is a songwriter and it's really just a matter of how hard you're willing to work at it. You know, my wife writes songs. Granted, are they always good? No, but she
neither
writes,
are yours.
Yeah, neither are mine. Exactly. but everybody writes songs, even if it's just in their head.
Yeah.
There's some people who are more gifted for it. There's more people who do it more often.
Yeah. It's
just like anything. It's just like going to the gym. Yeah. If I pick up dumbbells every day, I'm gonna get pretty good picking up dumbbells,
Yeah.
But if I say that I pick up dumbbells and all I do is go eat cheeseburgers, that's great. I can be a pro cheeseburger eater, but I ain't a dumbbell lifter.
Yeah.
Or at least not the caliber that I know I can be.
I feel like you're calling me out right now.
No, I also eat a lot of cheeseburgers and I also pick up a lot of dumbbells. So I'm this oxymoronic hodgepodge mixed bag of songwriting and laziness.
You are a moron.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding. I do. Man, it's the measurement of success has been like, as I've gotten older, it shifts. And it's cool to hear that you're feeling the same way. I think, not to get too much into like this last weekend with this Battle of the Bands thing, but like there was something I said I made like a second follow-up video to this thing that
What about the dog in the pants? Or
no,
that one's pretty good.
no.
Dogs do wear pants on
Dogs,
their
dogs
hind
wear
legs.
pants on
I
their
did, I
hind
did
legs.
enjoy that. Yeah.
No, so last weekend there was this battle of the bands that happened in my hometown, and about a month ago, I get an email saying that my band was not chosen for this battle, even though it was happening in my hometown and I'm from there. And
You're a
thought,
songwriter who releases
yeah,
music and
yeah,
has a band that plays well.
I
And
thought it was weird. I
yeah,
thought it was strange. So, you know, there's all sorts of stuff out on like my social media talking about all that. But, kind of where I landed was with my buddy Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup, not to name drop or anything.
that was a gigantic name drop.
Just, I'm friends with the guy from Bowling for Soup.
You are. That's cool.
But he said that just because somebody gets an opportunity doesn't mean that you're missing out on one. They didn't pick you for something. That doesn't mean they're going to pick me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this battle of the bands happens and a bunch of stuff happens with like the only local band that at the time, the only local band that was on the bill. A band had to drop and they added Ghosts of Gray County. So Divided Me and Ghosts of Gray County are the only two locals on the show.
I love Ghosts of Gray County.
I love Divided Me.
I don't know Divided Me well, but I love Ghosts.
So they're on the show. Divided Me is like at the beginning of the day at 3 p.m. Nobody's there. It sounds awful. All this other stuff.
What a great show.
So I was making these videos talking about it. And I think some of the folks at the city thought that my issue with it was that my friends didn't win. Which it does kind of suck that my friends didn't win.
Of course it does.
But the bands that were on the show were like, they were all really good.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is like at a deeper philosophy that the issue could have been handled at the beginning before the show was even booked if they had just picked Panhandle bands.
Yeah.
Because there's so many bands here, and there's even bands that like I have in the past like had like kind of like issue with like that's weird they're choosing to do that. That like I've kind of squashed. I mean, Julie and I have talked about like with Ring Division. Luke and I had beef for a little bit. And we squashed that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think there are a bunch of people here that all we want to do is make art for people to enjoy and maybe make a little money doing it.
Yeah, that's
the there are three parts to that, and if I at least do two of them, I feel like I'm successful.
That's the recipe.
Even if I do one of them, if I make some art, awesome. But if some people enjoy it, that's cool.
Awesome.
And if I make some money, even awesomer.
Dude, yeah.
But as long as one of those components is there,
you're doing something.
I feel like that's success.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not like, playing some big show or something, although that would be cool.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to see you're also kind of in that spot where it's like, although the Ryman would be cool, Green Hall would be cool, Billy Bob's would be cool. I was just talking to some dude that played Billy Bob's like in the 80s.
Yeah, dope.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but I really have to think about this because if I don't frame my brain in this, I can get in a really bad spot. But it's like there's only one difference in winners and losers, and it's not really winning. That's the dirty secret is that losers focus on losing. They make excuses for how they lose. They look at the situation and go, "Man, there's no way I could have won. I'm just gonna lose." But a winner can lose, but they're focused on winning. It's like, man, this opportunity didn't flesh out. This didn't flesh out. This didn't flesh out.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of getting up and doing the thing over and over and over again. Being able to get kicked in the head and get back up and go, all right, I'm ready for a second dose. If that's what comes, or if success comes, cool.
Yeah.
I just have to show up. I write some really bad songs.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
They're really bad.
For every good one, there's probably 3 or 4 pretty bad ones.
I want to barf every time I hear them.
They're very terrible.
It's so bad.
But it's one of those things where it's like I've got to do it.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. If I don't do it, then I'm not going to get any better.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and the idea of success and failure, I was just listening to is it Mark Manson? Something Manson. He wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah. The orange book I see in airports all the time. I've never read it.
Dude, it's a great book.
Okay.
But he was talking about, it was like 40 things that he wished he had learned when he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And he was like, the ideas of success and failure are like the idea of success or the idea of failure. Those two things are things that exist before the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, and if you focus on those things, it only matters before you do the thing.
Yeah.
Like when you finally do something, you realize that that whatever thing you just did contains both a little success and a little failure.
Exactly.
It's not you succeeded or you failed.
Yeah.
There are some things in our life that are like cut and dried. That was a success, and that was a failure. But I think within creativity, there's like, you can make a song and you can succeed at making a song, but it may not hit the way you hoped.
It may be some of the best writing on earth, but the vocals might be a little.
Yeah. And so you have a little bit of both. And but to obsess about whether something is going to succeed or fail is more disabling. You don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and as someone who overthinks a lot about that stuff.
Same here.
Like that's why it's taken me like 2 years to put out 2 songs.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just one of those
It's
things.
been 2 years for me.
Bro.
So, yeah.
No songs.
Yeah. You've recorded 12.
Yeah, I have.
And they're
actually,
sitting.
if you count this weekend, 15. But
yeah, they're ready to go. Like
Yeah.
I have 2 that are ready to go.
Yeah.
One is currently being mixed right now.
Yeah.
So that's 3.
that is 3
So,
songs.
it's not we're not comparing. We're in different scenes anyway.
We are in
It's
different
fine.
scenes.
I don't have to compare or prove anything to you. Fuck you, dude.
I didn't say anybody was comparing.
God.
You tracking at home?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the way.
I say at home at space camp, but yeah.
Okay. Word.
Yeah. So everything but drums.
One of the things here is that, I mean, you see all this shit over here,
Yeah.
Mhm.
is that I don't know how to program drums,
Yeah.
and I'm a terrible drummer. So I know where you're going with this, but my point is this:
Mhm.
I have made a huge investment
Mm.
in gear
Yeah.
just so that I can bring a drummer here that doesn't have to unload their own shit,
Yeah.
and I can mic everything up and record a live drum track. I don't need anything quantized. I don't need any of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we just track drums and we re-record it until it's done right. That's how we did last album here.
Oh, cool.
And so recording at home, I still believe is the way.
I really do too. And,
No.
and I will say I've had the blessing of being able to go to some really cool studios and cut some really cool music.
Paul McCartney.
But
at home.
but I will say that you are not limited by your gear if you really think about it. I'm a gear nut. I
Yeah.
love gear. It's part of like my little brain fixates on it, and I go,
Mhm.
"This is so cool. This one goes wee woo wee woo. This one goes wah 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 wah," and I'm just a sucker. But
I love Top Gear also.
yeah, Top Gear, the wee woo wah 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 show. The first stuff I ever recorded was with Bomb City, and it was a vocal mic and a acoustic mic. That's the first song I ever put out. And then after that, it was still a real studio recording, but it was just super dumbed down. And at that time, it was in a smaller studio with a great producer, and we made something really cool. I can make something really cool on my phone. I can make something really cool in front of the board that did Rose Queen by William Clark Green. I can do, in reality, it's me that's the common denominator. It's not the gear, you know.
Mhm.
It's the people I put
It's
around
you,
me.
not just him. Don't let him.
You.
He's like, it's
You.
me. No, it's you.
It's you. And I really frame it in, I'm a big fan of Bruce Springsteen. God, I love the boss.
Of course you are.
But it's one of those things where the boss gets off of recording The River, and it's this big
Ugh.
thing, and it takes a year and like a half. And
He gets off?
Oh.
Sorry.
He spends a year and a half or so cutting The River, and then goes on tour with it. And then he gets done, and he takes a tape recorder, which is much worse than your phone, and cuts Nebraska, which is arguably one of the best records, top to bottom, ever written. 4-track. Every track is maximum 4-track. It is run through a cassette player as the mastering system, and absolutely gets put out, and is one of the best songwriting examples ever.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where it's like, if you look into the history of music, everything changes when Bruce does Nebraska, because everybody's like, I can do this at home. I don't need a studio. I don't have to spend $1,000 a song. Man, you don't. You absolutely don't. You either got time or you got money, and you better use one of them well. And it's one of those things where I can throw a bunch of money behind something and it can sound really good. And my buddy Matt Morin said that once to me. And I've never thought of music the same way again, because it's one of those things where Matt had a lot of time to learn, and he records all his own stuff, and it's
That's
good.
great.
And I know people who spend $100,000 on a record, and it sounds really good, And I think the only difference is the way that you use your time or the way that you use your money. I'm thankful. I won't say the number that New West gave me. They gave me a good amount of money, and so I got to cut at a cool studio. That's awesome. This last weekend, I think the maximum amount of mics I used was 3. There's no percussion instruments. We learned how to high string a guitar. We did harmonies, and we just cut with what we had. You're really just limited by what you're willing to do. You can take time to learn. It can take money to learn. It's just a matter of how you use it. And that's why I think everybody should just start where you are. Just start where you are.
So what do you got going on? So I know you got a local show coming up.
I do. I actually got 2. One I've announced and one I haven't. October 25th, I'm doing a show at the Golden Light. I love that place. Wade used to basically pay all my bills by letting me open for everybody and everybody. I think it's everybody and anybody. See, I can write songs, but I can't freaking talk. And then that show's with Logan Ellis. It's $10 at the door. I decided I didn't want to do tickets this time. I just wanted I just wanted to see if I said $10 at the door and I'm going to go stop at every radio station in town. Just go, how many people are going to show up and pay $10?
Even 93.1 The Beat?
Maybe even 93.1.
You should hit up 93.1 The Beat.
They probably don't want to hear from me.
Is Tommy the Hacker still, is he there, or is he at 98.7? Or is it 96.9?
The fuck are you talking about?
Tommy the Hacker. Do y'all not know who that is?
I know who you're talking about, but he like FM radio? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. I keep my radio glued to 95.7, the Armadillo.
Yeah.
Craig
Yeah.
Vaughn.
I just, not to sidebar, but
out
Did you see
Craig
that wink?
Vaughn.
Yeah,
Craig Vaughn. I would not have a career. I wouldn't be sober today if it wasn't for Craig Vaughn.
Dude.
Honest to God. I wouldn't have my manager. I wouldn't be signed to a record deal. None of it, if not for Craig Vaughn.
yeah.
Hang on. I'm going to step in here just a second. Craig Vaughn is a fucking saint.
Yeah.
Biggest heart on earth.
We should get him on the show.
I've talked to him about that.
We should try to make that happen.
Yeah, let's get him on.
I think that'd be super
I
cool.
would love that.
I will say let's just gush about Craig for a little bit.
Oh, I'm about to gush.
Gross.
Are you calling him right now?
Absolutely. I'm going to see if he answers.
Hello.
Hey, pal.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, I'm on Amarillo Rocks right now with Thule, Remy, and myself. And we were just gushing about how awesome you are. So I figured we would just call and tell you how awesome you are and that you should watch the thing. We have spent about 10 minutes, I think. Well, I don't know.
We're going to spend
We're about to
more
spend 10
than-
minutes
yeah.
talking about you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll have to definitely watch that one for sure.
You got to do. We love you, man. I'll holler at you tomorrow, okay?
All right, thanks.
Talk to you, man. Bye.
Bye.
So you just do that to everyone.
I
You
do.
just call a thing that could easily be a text. You just call.
I love to call.
We do that too.
I'm not that.
I'm a voice guy.
He calls me for a thing that takes 5 seconds, and I'm like, you could have texted me.
I don't know how to use text really well.
It's obnoxious.
I'm the most boomer
Yeah, I know.
24-year-old on the face of the planet.
I've got a song I'm working on called "This Could Have Been an Email."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's amazing. I love that.
That I would
Um,
eat that up.
I do want to say though about Craig. So Craig is the reason that I know Jarrett Ray Reddick from
Yep.
Bowling for Soup.
He's
yeah.
the reason I know Jerry Ray.
Yeah. So Jarrett was on, and I'm just gonna spoil it. I interviewed him. He's gonna be on Amarillo Rocks after a couple of these. So we did a Skype call just because I knew there was no way I was gonna be able to get him to just come up here for a day before the show.
Yeah.
To do that. So we talked, and but he was up here, and he'll rehash the story a little bit from that. But he was on a radio tour, and he was looking to do a show, and Craig texted you and me about it, doing like a song swap. And so sure enough, we get on the song swap and play this country show with Jarrett, and that develops this friendship. And for me, what I like about Craig has been that he's not just this country guy.
He's a dude. He's a dude who listens to all sorts of music.
He, like, every time I see him at a show, like he showed up to Gabe Lee's show.
Yeah, we love Gabe Lee.
And he's wearing checkered Vans, and he looks just like he left Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And he and I will talk about pop punk like all day.
Yeah.
But like he's just a fan of, I think he's just a fan of music in general, and particularly like the local scene in Amarillo. I think he cares very deeply for it, not just the country scene, but like there was like a time early on when your stuff was picking up that I was just like, what am I doing? Fuck this, dude. I'm just gonna quit music because nobody cares about what I'm doing. And Craig was one of those guys who's just like, listen, man, you just keep doing what you're doing, keep
Yep.
grinding. And Craig's just a good dude, and I could go on and on about him. But
Gushing.
Gross.
Cabin Fever, the first like release of Cabin Fever, was something he recorded.
It was insane. At that time, there was a girl at the radio station named Shay. It was before I was sober. They had me come in and to just play this song that I put on Instagram and I put on Facebook. And it was Cabin Fever. And I went in and I played it for them. And they bootlegged the recording. They ripped it from the radio interview. And they just started spinning that recording. And it was insane when I got back from rehab. Hearing that song, and I'm like, I never released that.
Yeah, dude.
Now I look at from being on the other side of things, I'm like, there's probably 1,000 legal loopholes we could have jumped through there, but absolutely they did it, and
Yeah.
I'll always remember that. I never would have found Dalton if it wasn't for Craig Vaughn.
Yeah.
Craig showed me Corners before I went to rehab, and it was one of the best records I'd ever heard. And there's a song on it about recovery that I love dearly. Man, I wouldn't have half the things that I have today if it wasn't for Craig Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude is just a big sweetheart. Yeah. Anytime I do something, he's like, please come in the radio station. Anytime you want to have an interview, you just hop in. We'll get you some more airplay and we'll do this and we'll make it happen. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I've got a show coming up in a month. I text Craig, I go, hey, can I stop in? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Come on.
Yeah. We
and
love Craig.
Just, he just supports it. The man has opinions, and they're most of the time good opinions. Mm-hmm. If you can rate an opinion good or bad, and he'll tell you if something sucks or not. Mm-hmm. You know, you just got to ask him.
Yeah.
And that's what you need in your life is somebody to tell you that this thing is bad. And Craig can be that dude
for sure.
Or he can congratulate you when you sign a record deal. It's a wild deal.
Yep, we love that guy.
Dude's been nothing but nice to me. He
He
supported everything we've done here.
Yeah.
And just a freaking stand-up dude.
Love.
Great dude. So we were on show date. So October 25th.
Yes.
So Golden Light.
And so then I've got one on November the 1st.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Remy.
Thank you.
So I've been doing this thing. We just started it up 2 years ago. Rhett Euland and I would just call a couple songwriters and that we liked, and we would hop in and do the deal. Rhett Euland and I used to do this thing called the West Texas Round Robin. We did it once a year. We've done 2 rounds of it, and I decided this year I was going to bring it back. So on November 1st, we're doing the West Texas Round Robin. It is exclusively country singer-songwriters.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know.
It's like you're making a point because so here's the thing, like behind the scenes baseball. So the booking stuff with Golden Light, I thought that those 2 dates were like being held so they weren't sure which one you were going to play. We were going to play with full band.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that the first was free. So then I started working up a song swap of my own that day because it was my birthday. I wanted to throw a party, do some song stuff.
It was.
So then I found out that it wasn't the case. You're doing this round robin thing.
Yeah.
And then you offered me to play it.
Yes.
And I was so like this
so
exclusively country thing is bullshit because you offered me a soft emo to play this thing, but now it's exclusively country. Like you changed your mind
because you're not there.
Oh, that's the only reason.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
But
it's exclusively country now.
It is exclusively country now.
Okay.
So it is West Texas artists. They're all from West Texas. They're all from this area. So Rhett is not going to be able to make it this year.
Yeah.
So this
Borger
year
could learn a lesson or 2 about that.
Oh, that's right. If you're going to say you support locals, support locals.
Yeah.
Speaking of Borger, here's my quick ad break. Jesse's Pizza. Delicious pizza all the time.
I used to work there.
I know. I love that place. Jesse's Pizza. Good pizza all the time.
Their popper's all right.
The popper's incredible.
I work there so much, so I'm just like, it's fine.
No, I'm going to trade some merch.
All their pizza's so good, man. Anyway, so who's on this show?
So it is Darby Sparkman, who lives in Quanah, Texas. Aiden Loxton from Lubbock, Texas. Well, he's not from Lubbock. He's from Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
We went to high school together.
Oh, cool.
And then it is Ben Cargo.
I was gonna ask him to do my song swap that night.
Yep, I got him first.
Well,
Kapow,
I don't
pow,
have a song
boogie,
swap
boogie.
because you took the
Bang,
date
bang.
that I was gonna. Yeah. Anyway,
That's it.
Happy birthday to me, I guess.
Happy birthday! You're welcome to come and drink on my tab.
Okay.
But
I work there. I'm probably having to work that show.
that's okay. It all works out. Happy birthday, Remy.
What day's your birthday?
November 1st.
November the
Is
1st.
it really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ben Cargo.
Ben Cargo,
Darby Sparkman.
Darby
Aiden
Sparkman,
Loxton.
Aiden Logston, all
Amy,
really good friends of mine that I love dearly. And they're still all part of my life, which is really awesome because they all are from different parts. Like Ben was a big inspiration to me with Strangetown. You've got Darby. I used to live on her couch whenever we were college students at WT. Aiden and I were in the same class at Canyon.
Yeah.
And so, funny story about Aiden, just for a good giggle. I beat him in our high school talent show. I have to make sure I say this anytime I say Aiden Logston's name. I beat him vigorously.
Okay.
He played a George Strait song and I played a John Mayer song. And if that tells you about our careers now,
What John Mayer song did you play?
Dreaming with a Broken Heart.
I don't know that one. I only know No Such Thing.
Uh,
It's the only one I know.
Screw Continuum.
Yeah.
No.
I only know No Room for Squares.
That's
It's the
only
only
thing I
John Mayer
listen to.
record that matters.
Ow. But no, it's gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be a blast. But it's things like that. Like I do things for fun now. And it's not like I've already done enough. Like I definitely need to do more,
Yeah,
but
you
I
do.
pretty much do all the things I do for fun now. Which I love songwriting. I love listening to different songwriters. I wish we had a better songwriters night here. I really wish we did.
Well, no, Regal just did a big church night last week.
And that was cool. I was not able to go, but I saw all the artists and I went, that is awesome. Amarillo needs more of that.
Yeah.
Miller played that one. Benny played that one.
Yeah, I had to leave before. I had enough time to watch J Trials reunion, and then I had to bounce.
Yeah.
So
that was a
kinda
Wednesday,
bummed.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was at church.
Yeah, I was.
Talk
doing-
about a real kicker for
And
me
you
now.
missed church because you were at church.
Because I was at church.
Yeah.
And it was my anniversary, so I was like, hey, baby, do you want to not go out to dinner and go hang out with a bunch of bands? And she's like, gross.
That'll do it.
So you mean the thing we always do?
Yeah.
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
It's just,
No, we need a better songwriter night. We
I do
don't
think-
know- and if anybody who owns a venue is listening to this, I will host your songwriter night. You can call me. I will do it. I'm happy to. I'll do it for free. Just get a place where we can do songwriter night.
I have a venue now, right?
What?
I've got a whole fucking arcade upstairs that has like a dance floor, and I've got sound system and stuff up there.
I will. If you want to do a songwriter night, you let me know.
I gotta green light it with my other partners, but
Yeah.
it's like my dream for Lit Up is to have we've got tables and chairs.
Yeah.
I want to set up in front of the TV wall, throw your logo behind on the TV wall.
Yeah.
And do just like singer songwriter type stuff.
I think that's
Small
I think
bands.
that's genius. I think that Amarillo needs more of that. I will say this, live music and the spirit of live music is not dying in Amarillo, but live music itself is taking a decline because people who own venues have not taken good care of stewarding what we have.
Oh, no.
And it's one of those things where it's like you've been given a gift to contribute to live music, and I know some great venue owners and I know some not great venue owners.
I kind of watched Lango on that because like Gordon and Becky
Yeah.
bankrupted themselves because
Yeah.
they overpaid bands.
Yeah, and that can happen too.
That,
Absolutely.
you gotta
It
find
goes
the balance.
And it's one of those things where, and I'll just say this out loud. I knew when Casey Berry, who I love to death, was paying national touring acts too much, who did not bring in the ticket sales that he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up putting him in the hole there at Hoots. And it's one of those things where it's like, you have to look at the situation from every angle. But if you have a venue, I feel like if you're going to call yourself a music venue, and if you want to support live original music, you have to put forth that effort. And sometimes that costs monetarily, or you can figure out a way to do it yourself.
So what does the effort mean?
Searching.
Okay.
Answering your emails. That's a big one that I have across all of music over all time.
Yeah.
It's like everybody in the music industry doesn't know how to answer an email.
Yeah, it's the
sometimes.
bane of our existence in this
Interesting.
area for sure.
And it's one of those things where you could have some pretty decent acts for a pretty decent dollar.
Yeah.
But if you would just answer the email,
Yeah.
you know, I'll say this, there's a guy in Lubbock who's been trying to play a show in Amarillo, and he's an incredible songwriter. He's got a great band. If somebody would just give him the opportunity to start coming
Who is
in
it?
and building it, Jim Clack, in a band called the Barnharts.
Okay.
I love Jim. He's a great songwriter. He has a really cool band. They throw a really fun show. Nobody will book him in Amarillo.
It's weird.
Exactly. It's weird. And it's one of those things where, at one point I was like, oh, it's got to be the Amarillo Lubbock thing. It's got to be. Lubbock artists don't like Amarillo. Amarillo don't like Lubbock artists. Country music, it's a thing.
I mean, yeah, but so like a lot of you cats were going down to the Blue Light and doing songwriter night on Mondays and stuff there for a while.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing. It was kind of a cool.
It was awesome. I won the thing.
Yeah.
I won the songwriter.
But I think the distinction that needs to be made there is that the songwriter thing you can sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
You're not asking to be booked by the venue.
And that's true.
Word. That's true.
Serrano is doing that.
Yeah, and Jerry.
You know what I mean? Jerry's great.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's not, I am by no means trying to slam the Blue Light, but I do think that the venues on both sides, particularly in the country scene, there was this weird, like, oh, there's an Amarillo band. And it's like, there are weird like challenges that it's like, I've not been able to identify what the motivation or like why things are the way that they are, besides the fact that it feels like people are just like, well, this is just how it's always been.
Yeah. You have the opportunity to change the mold.
Yeah.
Whether you're an artist, whether you're a booker, or whether you are a venue, you have the opportunity to change the mold. And if you don't like the way that it looks, there are ways to mitigate that. There are 100% door deals.
Yeah.
You do not have to pay a artist a guarantee if your venue cannot afford it. You can do 100% door deal if you are a venue.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a restaurant and venue, that gets a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're a venue, then you can do 100% door deal where you won't lose your money on this, besides maybe the sound guy, which can take a toll. But at the end of the day, if you want live music, sometimes that happens. But I mean, you can overpay some artists and underpay some artists, and this is just from my sphere and from the way I look at it. You can look at ticket sales. In Amarillo, whenever I book something in Amarillo, I have a tag of my most sold show. It's got a list of the tickets I sold. So I can guarantee you that I will do 50% to 75% of this in town.
Yeah.
And so I can go, now that being said, if the ticket's $10, depending on how many people there are there, I can tell you that I probably am worth this much at your venue.
Yeah.
And that's a more accurate representation. Now, that being said, you can't be an artist who just walks in and go, I think my band's worth $2,000, when in reality, you're a $500 band.
Right.
That's it.
It's strange too, because like to have these conversations where we're talking about like the worth of a band and like money, and it teeters on that, at least for me, it teeters on that feeling of it feels a little icky, but also at the same time, it's one of those, like, I think the climate's just got to change of like, bands need to understand their worth.
Yeah.
And venues also need to understand how valuable their room is.
Yeah.
And it's the same as when we were talking about, however long ago in this episode, depending how long this thing goes, we were talking about like the record labels, the record labels and artists realizing the worth that they have in each other, and how they kind of need each other.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. And a lot of times it feels like maybe it's not blatant, it's not explicit, but sometimes it can feel like the venue's like, oh no, they need us. Those artists need our room. And it's like, I mean, maybe
it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, so I do think like anybody who's watching this, like, I think this goes, it's not just for country music. I think anyone who's in a band right now, it sucks. But like what Thule, like what you were saying about, both of y'all were saying about like doing the work, about having to grind. If you want to do something with this music thing more than just playing like, like a couple things here and there and just because it sounds fun, like, dude, go with God, do that. That's super fun. Go have fun. But if you want to like see how far you can take this thing, like it does take a little bit of work. It takes some time to sit down and realize like, okay, the shows we've done this last year, this is what we've sold. This is what we've brought to the table for venues in the past. We could have done better here. Like keeping track of how much money you made for a venue, how many people showed up, all of that stuff, and doing numbers. And if you aren't good at it, find someone in your band that is, and delegate it, because like those things help you continue to, it helps maintain this thing that you want to do. If you want your band to survive,
Mm-hmm.
or do like I do and say, oh, it's all me, and just the other guys, if they want to be part of it, great. But
Yeah.
I am native crowds, and then
I guess I am Travis Roberts.
you are
but-
Travis Roberts, frustratingly
I thought it was
so.
Christopher
You are
Travis Roberts.
Yeah,
Travis Christopher Roberts.
Pardon, yeah.
That's my
T.
God.
Christopher.
That's my God-given
Yeah,
name.
you are frustratingly Travis Roberts. That's
I
for
am
sure.
with all my flaws.
So October 20. I know we.
October 25.
I think we're all getting a little. It's getting late.
November 1st.
October 25th, Golden Light full band with Logan Ellis.
Rock and roll.
Okay, November 1st, West Texas Roundup.
Yep.
Exclusively country artists with Darby Sparkman, Aiden Loxton, Ben Cargo.
Which I would skate around calling Ben a country artist. Ben does make country music sometimes, but Ben also makes a lot of different other stuff. And if you've ever been to my show and heard Minefields, you would know that country is subjective.
You have your guitar here. We'll maybe do some of that here in a second. But I do want to say, because I think this will come out before my show, I'm just going to plug my show. I will say October 28th, we're at High Fidelity with Snailmate. If you have heard of Snailmate, if you've seen them around, if you've seen the Don't Be Gross, Wash Your Hands stickers all over Amarillo, that's Snailmate. They are from Arizona, I think. Arizona, Nevada, somewhere over there. This duo, they're really fucking cool. And every time they come through it, I think we get to do the show with them. So it's really cool. And we're doing it at a record store. So I don't know what the cover is. Might be $5, but it's all ages. It's going to be fun. And then, just like, how do they find you at places?
Oh, all socials are Travis Roberts TX.
Yep. Cool.
Super easy to find.
Yep. And keep a lookout for
new music.
Some new stuff this year.
November will be very busy when it comes to the new music.
Yeah. And then
so just keep your eyes peeled if you like what I'm saying. And
so I think
the music could suck, but I could say
it sucks, but it's that's just me. That's my perspective. No, it doesn't suck. You are frustratingly good at what you do, not to puff you up.
We've often said this about Travis behind his back, that he's infuriatingly talented.
Yeah.
That is very
I mean, just remembering how old you are and what you've written thus far, it's something to be admired and hated for at the same time. And I do both of those things about you.
You're weirdly wise to the world for your age. I've always appreciated that about you.
A lot of miles on the car.
Yeah.
I always say that. It may be a fairly new car, but there are a lot of miles on it.
Yeah. That's gross.
Gross.
All right. Well,
that can't be how we end the talking portion of this. This can't
freeze frame to the end.
Yeah. No. Travis, thank you for doing this. Thule, thanks for letting me. This is still weird. Like I don't know what to do with my.
You have nothing else you want to ask me on camera, so I have to answer it.
Your favorite Star Wars film?
Oh God,
I feel like we went through this when we were here.
That was Stealing Handshakes.
Yeah.
But I think we called him.
Maybe.
I think he was.
It may have changed since then because I've watched Star Wars over and over and over again, and my favorite one is definitely The Two Towers.
Fucking hate you so much. I hate you so much. I asked Jarrett this.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about gratitude earlier. What are 3 things that you are grateful for right now, in this moment, currently right now? What are you grateful for?
I am grateful to have a working brain.
That's debatable.
I'm grateful to have the ability to free think, that not everything is predestined, and that I have the opportunity to form my own thoughts. Sometimes that means songwriting. Sometimes that means I'm going to look at pictures of cute dogs. But I have a free working brain. I am super thankful today that I am married to the most wonderful woman on earth.
Gross.
The kindest woman on earth, the smartest woman on earth. I would not be able to run a business without her.
You forgot the hottest.
She is very hot. I would love to use Pastor, my smoking hot wife there. If you want to hear that one out loud. And then third,
that was a weird interaction we just had.
That is it. Much like a pastor, I do have a smoking hot wife. I'll see you at the men's retreat next week.
Okay.
And then third of all, I am thankful for the community that we have. That I don't think any artist has to make art in silence. If you don't feel like you have people who support your music. I dare you to send it to an artist, even if they don't completely understand what you're doing. Man, I see this thing all the time where I used to have this really negative view of a certain band. I'm not going to say it out loud, but there was a band in the area that I wasn't the biggest fan of. I didn't like their music. I didn't like the way they marketed it until I finally decided to sit back and go, they're just trying to do the same thing I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
And if they're trying to do the same thing that I'm doing, what right do I have to say you suck?
Yeah.
If I'm just going to contribute to the conversation by saying you suck, I should probably listen to what my mama said and shut my damn mouth if I ain't got nothing nice to say.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to do the same thing I'm doing. We can disagree on the way that we do things, but by golly, we do have a community of music in Amarillo, and it's your responsibility to plug into it. It's my responsibility to plug into it.
Yeah.
If I don't decide to put any skin in the game, I don't get to have any conversation. I don't have any part of it, but I'll always be from Amarillo. This is where I make music. This is where my band is from. And I love the fact that as much as we can be weird about it, this is us.
Yeah.
We're strange. We're a mixed bag, but this is us.
Mhm.
You got anything to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna
Thule's
say,
Tower.
guys, if anyone's listening, I know you can't see me, and that's for the best. After
You
the
always look good,
accident,
Thule.
that
I know you have tits now, like on your
what
kneecaps
does that
for
mean?
some reason.
That's weird. Yeah, I mean, the surgery was not a success.
Like
Anyway.
the doctor thought
Yeah.
they, I guess, like they were doing breast implants
Yeah.
on you, but they put them on your knees.
Yeah, it's that ACL augmentation. They just happen to have a nipple. So
It's
You got that. You
weird.
got that Aaron Rodgers procedure.
right. Thanks for doing the show. Thanks for
Yeah.
Absolutely,
hosting.
man.
Even though I thought we had that conversation, but I guess not.
We okay, no, we had a conversation about possibly doing
He's
that.
hating it.
But like I didn't know that was what was gonna happen once we kicked this thing back off.
This is not an interview. This is really just two dudes.
Yeah, well, and I
That's
mean,
the whole idea.
yeah, and what I appreciate about getting to be a part of this, not to get too sappy, but you know, we've had conversations, and I'm talking to
Yeah.
the camera. I'm not. It's Thule I'm
Yeah.
talking to, not you. Fuck
Yeah.
you. I'm kidding. I love you. I'm glad you're here. Not you. Them.
Barf.
Oh yeah.
Gross.
No, you. I consistently still feel like a transplant here.
That's weird.
Yeah, I just even
You're
now.
like old guard here, man. I think
And that's what's so weird to me, man, that people like you're not the only person who said something like that to me in the last like 6 months. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I feel like I'm a transplant here. And so the fact that you, Thule, even trust me at all with any of this, that means a lot, because it's like I'm just like this weird dude not from here, and I just want to see this place thrive. Because at least in this place, there's a little bit more opportunity for local artists to thrive, unlike Borger.
Jesse's Pizza. Good
Except
pizza
Jesse's Pizza,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, Jesse's is great. But yeah, no, I just mean, what I mean to say is I appreciate even being allowed to do this.
Be a
So,
person, yeah.
You're my
Yeah.
boy Blue.
yeah. All right, well,
Whatever.
I'm gonna say this, and we might be at the end, but I feel like I'd be doing this injustice if I didn't say this. Wipe front to back, clear your browser history, and go check out some live music. So we'll see you next time.
You nailed it.
Hey, it's Remy, and we're here again with Travis Roberts, and he's got a song for us. He's gonna play the song "Air It Out." So check it out.
This is a song I wrote for my buddy Jordan Nix. It's called Air It Out. Honey, I ain't the laundry. You can't just do me, then leave me. And I'm tired of the bullshit questions everybody's asking. If I wanted to see you naked, I would've just called you. You'd fake it, leaving me hanging my head against the wall, wishing I'd go blind. When I'm strung out like a kite, honey, I don't fight. Let's just save it for the morning, 'cause I'd rather die than air it out. And tell me what's the point in using words that ain't got no weight? What the hell we even talking about? Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Funny thing about screaming, it don't need to leave it, just need to be louder than the other for once. In your life, could you just be quiet? Facts and truths are decent, and I ain't a demon, but I know the meaning of a break for a while means that I can't change your mind. When I'm strung out like a kite, honey, I don't wanna fuss and fight. Let's just save it for the morning, 'cause I'd rather die than air it out. And tell me what's the point in using words that ain't got no weight? What the hell we even talking about? Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. And I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Now I'm strung out like a kite. Honey, yeah, I don't wanna fuss and fight. Let's just save it for the morning, 'cause I'd rather die than air it out. And tell me what's the point in using words that ain't got no weight? What the hell we even talking about? Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth. Don't say a word and I'll shut my mouth.